Hey everybody, I'm
Hey,
Tara
I'm Chris.
from Crooked Row, and today we are going to be talking about herbs that can actually help you through this fall and winter, maybe even spring, with some of the sicknesses that you might get. And these are common herbs that are growing everywhere. I
Mhm.
mean, the first one we're going to talk about is mullein, and mullein literally grows I don't know a
Everywhere.
place it doesn't grow, do
Yeah.
you?
Mm.
And so we have this all over the farm. And we right now we're kind of laughing because our kids had picked up some refrigerators from different people's houses to kind of earn money. And they just kind of threw them back here in the back side of the property. But we also have some of the coolest looking mullein plants, the
Hmm.
tallest I
Hmm.
think we've ever
Hmm.
seen.
Yeah.
So that is, Chris is almost 6 foot, and it's definitely a good 12 inches taller than you. So that must
Hmm.
be like 7 feet. Um, these are both, so there's one over here too, and it is just loaded with flowers and leaves. Let's look at this. So these are like perfect mullein leaves that we're just gonna clip. Go ahead, babe. And some of the flower heads are pretty good too. Um, you can just pluck those right off. Here. So the mullein is really important. Mullein is something that even the medical community recognizes that it has some
Hmm.
great properties. I'll link below an article from the Cleveland Clinic, and they highly suggest utilizing mullein. Mullein can be dried, like we're going to dry the leaves and the flowers. We'll keep them separated in different canning jars. So it's recognized by the Cleveland Clinic. We'll link that article below. Um, we'll dry on screens, which I'll show you later. We'll dry on screens the flowers and the leaves, and then I usually try to take out the stem and then crumble the leaves after they're completely dried, and I keep them in a canning jar. Um, and we just steep a tea. Now, sometimes like my kids don't just like mullein. I'll put in other things like we'll dry out elderberries or freeze elderberries. I make elderberry syrup. It's just a good flavoring for the tea, especially if you hear somebody getting sick in the house. There is something that is in the leaves and the flowers, and really the root of mullein too. And
Hmm.
I believe it's called mucilage.
Hmm.
Is it
Yeah. Yeah.
mucilage?
Yeah.
And it helps break up congestion. So everything that we're going to tell you today, these are not cure-alls. I don't want anyone to think that we're suggesting that they cure everything, because they don't. But they are great aids when you're starting to get sick. So like
Hmm.
um it's been known to heal, not heal completely, like all on its own. So I'm not claiming anything medicinally, but even the article in the Cleveland Clinic said that it is known to fight the pneumonia virus.
Hmm.
And so you do want to have things like this in your arsenal, especially if you have kids
Hmm.
or if you're elderly. You can't always just keep running to the doctor. The doctor's good too. We like the doctor. We're not talking against the doctor. But these are aids that you can arm yourself with at home. So mullein definitely will break up those, when you have mucus in your passageways, you want something that helps break that up. And so it is an expectorant. And so it is just something that's really, really great that your kids can sip on, you can sip on. You can flavor it with whatever else flavors you want, but it's something that's natural, that's growing right where you are. I guarantee you have woods near you that mullein is growing in. So just make sure if you get them by the roadside, make sure that they have not been sprayed, because the last thing you need is a bunch of pesticides in your tea. So we know for a fact these have not been sprayed. Um, and so just make sure you're getting a clean product, and I highly suggest clicking down in the comments, because that is a really good article from the Cleveland Clinic. The second tea that we highly suggest is red clover tea. And you can see the little flowers, and you collect these. These help with um, symptoms of menopause. They help with cardiovascular health. There's a bunch of benefits that you get from red clover, and it's really as simple as coming to the flower and pulling it off. And you dry these on a screen as well. So it also helps with fight cancer as well. So many of these items, not items, so many of these wild edibles are going to be good for cancers. The mullein is also good for like anti-inflammatory. I feel like a lot of this stuff is going to be anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, cardiovascular, and some of these are going to overlap. But I think that the more that you can add to your teas and tinctures, your salves, your oils, things like that, the better. I know that mullein, well, I'll get to that later about mullein. Red clover is so prolific that there is absolutely no reason not to grab that and pop them in some teas, dry them and pop them in some teas. At the very least, you can put them in other things as well, but definitely dry them and put them in your teas in the winter. The next is white clover. I don't know if you can see those tiny little flowers. Oh, these tiny little flowers that you often find in your yards. You can pick just the flower and then dry it for tea. Okay, so here on just an old window screen, we have all of the red clover that we've collected. Some of it turned kind of brown, but that's okay. We just keep these in our grow room with a fan so that the circulation is good. And I'm just gonna pull these and put them in a canning jar. Chris and I both are.
I'm gonna help a little bit.
I think we're gonna need
another jar.
At least,
yeah, a couple more jars.
use these kind of as guards against the clover. The white clover is almost done. My daughter got it a little bit wet, so we're going to try and dry it out. But we will continue to harvest the mullein and the mullein flowers, and we'll fill up huge jars of mullein because we use it a lot in the winter. So you don't have to have any fancy equipment or anything special. You can use a screen, you can make your own screen if you need to. Some people put it on paper plates and dry them. That's fine too. You just want to make sure and maybe stir it a little. I've seen people put them on baking sheets. I like the screens so that I don't have to stir them. Um, it's getting air all the way around it. There are people who put theirs in dehydrators as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there are super wet herbs like basil that I could see someone wanting to put in a dehydrator. Um, I try very hard, unless it's like our rose hips. I put our rose hips in a dehydrator. I'm trying to think of what else I really rely on that dehydrator for. Um, Everything else, I pretty much hang upside down. These are very, I feel like, very fragile oils in all of these items, and you want to preserve as absolutely much of it as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like drying without heat and just trying to
Mm-hmm.
get some air circulation
Mm-hmm.
and things in it to help it dry is the best way to go. I mean, there's other ways of preserving. If you have a freeze dryer, we no longer have access to a freeze dryer, and so it's just not possible for us to freeze dry. That's a very expensive option. I know
Mm-hmm.
freeze dryers range from $3,000 to $5,000. Um, that's just not worth it to us. I'd rather just dry it. Um, yeah, yes. So the different things that you get with these collecting all of these edibles, there is common ground amongst some of them. They're almost all anti-inflammatory, which is just great because especially in the American diet, I think everyone tends to be a little inflamed. So popping some of these into your teas or really even coffee, like the little white clovers, those have a slight like vanilla
Uh-huh.
ishness,
Yeah.
slight,
Very slight.
tiny. I know some people put them in baked goods and things like that. Again, this kind of goes back to, other than a tea, like tea, it extracts that oil out
Mm-hmm.
really fast and then you drink it. A baked good sits in, an oven for an hour. And so I can't, I mean, there must be some sort of benefit to it. I mean, people have eaten these things for ages. And so the white clover offers kind of the same that the red clover does. The red clover is a little bit different though, because it kind of helps with women health issues. And so, if you're going through menopause or suffering from some of the effects of menopause, red clover is really good at helping to aid in some of these things. Again, these won't cure you of anything, but it does aid in some of these things. Now, the marshmallow flowers, which we have been collecting, and we've been collecting those over a period of weeks. It just keeps blooming and blooming. So I keep running out here in the morning and picking them. And then we dry those just like you saw before. It also is like the mullein, and it has mucilage in its leaves,
Mm-hmm.
in its roots, and in its flowers.
Mm-hmm. And flowers.
The most is in its root. The second would be in its leaves, and then the flowers are good for you too. Um, so the mucilage will help break up what sounds like I have in my lungs, and that is, it makes the mucus break up, and you can cough it out. Now, it doesn't mean that you can drink 1 cup of tea um, from mullein or the marshmallow plants and like you're cured.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how any of these work, and you kind of want to get them in your system over time as well. So be patient, because herbs I don't think work as fast as medicine. Medicines, they usually take compounds that occurs in nature like from herbs, and they intensify it with chemicals. So and again, I'm not saying that that is bad, but I'm saying that if you want to go the natural way, then I would definitely highly suggest doing
Mm-hmm.
drying some of these
Mm-hmm.
plants and different things. There's also one more that we're going to do today. Today's our light day because it's Chris's day off, and we're gonna go plant some chamomile. And quickly, even though chamomile is here is not a wild edible, it is in other places like Azerbaijan. Um, and but we're going to plant the chamomile. Last year I did not plant chamomile, or maybe it didn't grow, is what it was. I don't think ours grew last year for some reason. But so I ordered chamomile once fall came, and I opened up and I love the smell of chamomile. I mean, like when we grow our chamomile and we start to harvest it, oh, to me it smells like apples and honey. I don't know why it just has such a sweet, sweet smell.
Mhm.
Um, and when I got it, and I've gotten a few different companies of dried chamomile for tea, and when I got them, I like smelled it. It just smelled like a plant. It didn't have that sweet honey smell. I have our chamomile from like 2 or 3 years ago that's still in a canning jar, and you can still smell. It's not as strong as when we first harvested it,
Mhm.
but you can still open
Mhm.
that canning jar and oh, it smells like apples and honey.
Mhm.
So we're going to go do that. And I really hope that this is encouraging that you can make, forage, dry, and do your own teas. Of course, like actual like black tea does not grow in America at all. It's usually like China, isn't it?
Mhm.
And so I need to look into that though. Um, and but all the other teas, all the other herbal teas and all of that, I really encourage you to grow your own. The freshness is just nice, and it really does help in your arsenal where
Mhm.
we're all about to fight through the winter where sicknesses really start to
Mhm.
set in.
Mhm.
So I wanted to encourage you of that. Also, one more thing, white clover has a calming effect on people. And so I know that we have had several videos on lemon balm. Lemon balm has that same effect. We go through tons of lemon balm in our house. And so if you're looking for like an anti-anxiety, white clover might be your girl too. So we're going to go get started on planting our chamomile. While they are doing that, I wanted to show you that we got some new seeds from a new company called Everwild Farms. And I just
Careful,
love
there's
the
screws on the
packaging
wood,
that it
guys.
comes in. This will keep it fresher longer, and I am one of those people that can tell you this means a whole lot because we probably won't use all of this seed. Here is organic German chamomile, and we'll let you know how this works. But these mylar, and it's a mylar zip, so great, great option. We'll see how great their seeds are. Well, there you have it. We completed our chamomile planting. So now in this video, you have wild edibles that you can turn into tea and other things, uh, and something that you can plant yourself for tea
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
So if you're looking for calm, you're definitely going to want to do herbal teas because they almost all of them promote calmness and well-being and things like that. So there is a reason why people do herbal teas, huh?
Yes, totally.
We drink tons of herbal tea, especially in the wintertime, don't we?
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's really good.
and I wanted to also throw in there that there are historically people have smoked mullein, and I tried to smoke mullein. I mean, if you're not a smoker, it's pretty harsh. I think it's a harsh, it has a smell like,
I'm not a smoker.
yeah, I'm not a smoker. You said that like I'm a smoker. We're neither of us are smokers, but it definitely kind of goes down a little bit harsh, and so it's not like a smooth thing. I know that there are some people who will smoke Mullen to try to quit smoking cigarettes. They highly suggest the medical industry does not to smoke anything, and I see the wisdom in that. I know that it sometimes you may need to smoke it just to get that directly
Hmm.
into your lungs.
Hmm.
Um, so I just kind of wanted to throw that in. It's definitely it's not illegal to smoke it. They sell it and sell different things that how you can smoke it, but we're really growing it for teas. Teas, tinctures, and salves is
Hmm.
most well, and we also do mullein oil. If you rub mullein oil on, bites and wounds and things, it'll actually help with inflammation and it will help with healing. So they also say that you can grind up the leaves
Hmm.
and pack that on a wound for mullein. And I would assume, I don't know this, so please check this, but I would assume that the same would go for the marshmallow leaves as well. And I want to remind you, we did not pull up the marshmallow root because if we were going to, we would probably do that in the fall or the
Hmm.
spring. So it's about time for that great big one that we've been picking from for it to be for us to do something with. So we'll probably be doing that this fall, and we will bring you along. So it is midsummer, and we are mostly through July. And I want to encourage you to keep gardening. Right now is a very tough time to be gardening, July and August. Your reward is getting ready to pay off because we're getting ready to have harvest season. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to. We've had a lot of damage, pest damage, fungal damage this year. It's rained a lot. You can see behind us. Look at those big, beautiful clouds. Um, it's rained a ton this year. We have tons of snakes and stuff. It's just been very wet. So we might make a video in some of the stuff that we've been having to deal with. So and bring you along, but don't give up. We're almost there.
Hmm.
We'll keep encouraging each other to get out in our gardens and to fight these issues because the harvest really is worth it.
Hmm.
So
So remember, if we can harvest from our wild edibles and get medicinal uses out of our plants that are growing freely and abundantly around us,
anybody can.
anybody can.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.